First down for the Lions. Goff's got it back. Lofts it right side. Wants Tesla. Does he make a one-handed catch? Oh, don't you tell me he did that. Oh, rookie, you are something else as he slides out of bounds.
They forgot about who we were. It's like they forgot that we're fighters, all right?
I just noticed that was a cheese grater. I ain't never seen that before. That's dope.
31-21. You're the first here.
The 2014 team was our best bet. And I'm going to tell you why. That penalty, we beat Dallas that year, right? We had the second best defense in the league, if you remember, behind the Legion of Boom, which historically was one of the best defense, if not the best of one of the best of all time. And we had a better offense than Seattle did. They had Marshawn Lynch. They had the young Russell Wilson. That Reggie Bush. That Calvin.
Question mark is that everybody wants to know about, everybody's concerned about, is how much better did the Lions actually get? Yeah, it's BlockBuster Sports. Good stuff there, Darcy. Good stuff.
Yeah, I just made that up. Took me, like I'm the, welcome to the BlockBuster Sports, and we're sitting around with all my buddies here, Woody Batch, Donnie Cleary, and the man, the myth, the legend. I took a little clip. Did you notice that clip in your video with Detroit Lions? What is it? Lone Wolves. Because I typed in Lone Wolves, but it didn't come up. Something else come up. So yeah, it's Detroit Lions, Lone Wolves. John Maakaron, awesome. You're an insider for the Detroit Lions. You're in the locker room. You're there. You're in the press box. What do you think about this game? Like I even said, like I talked to Robert Porcher and I said, Robert, this is a get right game. We need to blow these guys out. And we were hanging out with the legends, and talk about your experience there, John, with this game and how it felt coming into it. It didn't really crack open until that Tesla catch because I thought the Bears were still in it. And Johnny Morton opened up that playbook, a little bit conservative, but I'm kind of getting the feel of what he is doing. Talk about it, John. Take it over. I'm going to be sharing this for a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody here in the room is very happy. 52-21 blowout win. The first thing that everybody noticed was, all right, John Morton figured out how to get back to the John Morton, Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell offense. And that's all everybody wanted to see was, hey, make the offense look good and special. And right from the get-go with the crossing route to Amon-Ra St. Brown, it looked much better and much cleaner. And look, the home crowd got all their money's worth. And look, everybody thought after the Packers game that, yeah, there was going to be a reaction because of how bad the Lions played. And the standard is quite high. That's how the reaction should be. The Lions didn't play well. And the expectation was that you were going to play against the Chicago Bears and get after Ben Johnson because of the fact that he was here. And look, Dan Campbell's not going to guarantee wins a lot of times in his tenure here in Detroit. So it was great to see. They curb stomped the team. That's what they were supposed to do. And look, the Lions know everything about Ben Johnson. They know everything about the Chicago Bears. And quite frankly, they just have a much better roster. So it was all set up for the Lions with feeling betrayed about Ben Johnson, the home opener, and after a game in which you played awfully, where everybody's asking, what happened to your mojo? The Lions lost their mojo for just a week, but they got it back just that quick as everybody expected. And I think everybody in this room was quite happy. Look, you still got to acknowledge, guys, the Bears suck. Everybody's reporting on it. There's people doing 3-4-part features on how bad the Bears are. So I expected it. That's what I called for in my preseason preview show on the Lone Wolves podcast. But I'm sitting here happy. I think you guys are too. What impressed you the most? What's your biggest takeaway from what you guys saw? I'm just happy John Morton and the Lions fixed their problems quite quickly.
Yeah, I was impressed with both sides of the ball. We went there and we had a mission, and I think Dan had them right the whole week. if I'm not mistaken, it sounds like every practice was good. Yeah, it was a humbling loss against Green Bay, especially how we've played against them in the past, the last couple, 2, 3 years, to go in there and lose the way we did. And it was Micah Parsons coming out party and all. And this is what we need. And we need this for momentum going forward because the schedule is not going to get any easier, guys.
No, and you know what? I think John hit it dead on balls. Like, if you watch the play, like, first off, Amon St. Brown was the highest graded offensive player, the player period. And if you look at the play when they're playing 10 personnel, the way they use Laporta to cross, at one point I seen JMO with 3 defenders on him. And St. Brown had 3 touchdowns. He had a great game. And I think Morton really figured out how to beat this Bears defense because Stevenson wasn't messing with St. Brown at all.
Yeah, it was amazing to see that. Look, what John Morton had said when he first got here was, "I want to keep the offense the same. I want to see more explosive plays," and you got to see it with Jamison Williams. You got to see the run game. How impressed were you guys with how fast the offensive line was able to rebound? Because look, first and foremost, the hub of the operation for the Detroit Lions is always going to be the offensive line. You do have young players in Tate Ratledge and Christian Mahogany. They're learning the ropes. But on the road, that's quite the baptism to go out there against a Packers team that knows you, to communicate well. And the Lions coaching staff put a lot on the players, and there was some miscommunication. Now, it seems to get a lot better in the comfy confines of Ford Field. So you got to see a lot of motions shift, great blocking by the tight ends and Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker. That's what you need to see on a weekly basis. And so for all the bells and whistles of how special that offense can be, it starts in the trenches, and man, credit to the offensive line. They have their hiccups, but they played a lot better. Right, Donnie?
Oh, absolutely. You could tell that they were more focused. There weren't many penalties. The rookies looked actually good. Well, one rookie. I was impressed. And I know that Chicago, their offensive line got better. I don't know if their defensive line got much better in the offseason, but this was just all around a good game for this offensive line, even our defensive line. Unfortunately, we had a guy go down. What's his name?
Davenport.
Yes.
That always goes down.
Davenport. I can't remember his name half the time. He don't play much because he stays hurt. But yeah, I was extremely impressed, and I expect somewhat of the same performance Monday night. I look for Monday night to be a really good game. We're playing a good team, but if we play like we did Sunday, regardless of our opponent, regardless of where we're at, I expect us to be in this game from the first quarter all the way down to the last second.
Let's address the elephant in the room. Losing to those Green Bay Packers, like that was a gut shot. That kicked me in the nuts, throw me off the Ambassador Bridge. That, like, I felt like crap the whole week. And thank God Hank Fraley got these guys going. They actually did pretty good on the PFF rankings. And they needed to blow this team out. Thank God that they did, because we're coming with the gauntlet. We're going to the Baltimore Ravens. How many points did we get against the Ravens last time? 6? What was it?
6.
Yeah.
38-6.
38-6. So now
I
we
was
had
at
to
that
go.
game. It was total domination, and we got to play better. We cannot go in there and play the way we did. I've got a few notes for you guys. I went over the box scores and some of the articles I had to go back to read because I believe this game was, 2 years ago? The Lions couldn't contain Jackson. We struggled to generate any pressure, allowing Lamar to extend plays. We cannot let that happen, okay? Ravens defense held our running game to less than 100 yards. I don't even believe Montgomery played in that game. I think he might have been banged up or hurt. We just all around got to play better. Looking at the stats, guys, we were 5 for 16 on third down efficiency. That is not going to go into Baltimore and beat them. We've got to do better. And we can't give up 500 yards. Can't do it.
What do you got to say for yourself?
You know what, Darcy? Go ahead and take over. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
This is a this is a must win if we're going to win this football game because, man, we have to. Like, you see Kansas City's 0-2, but even with the Browns, like, they're competitive. They're a competitive team. I realize Baltimore just beat them, but this is a must win. If we are a Super Bowl team, which I think we are, if we're a Super Bowl team, like I think we are, if we're a Super Bowl team like we think we are, I think this is a must win game to basically, put the stamp, punch them in the mouth and take care of business here. And then next week we have the Browns. I can't wait for the Browns. And then all of a sudden we have to go to the Bengals that don't have the quarterback. So this is going to be a pretty exciting next 4 games of the stretch. Talk about John.
Yeah, no, it's very much so. It's a game where you can actually get a real evaluation of the Lions. The Bears, obviously, you definitely understood that you can get right quickly, that you can dominate a team that you're much better than. And for the home fans, it kind of rejuvenates everybody's faith a little bit in John Morton in that, okay, the first game, you get a little bit of a pass. It's the Packers. It's on the road. It's your first time back in Detroit. You didn't run the John Morton offense. Everybody knows it. I asked about it. Everybody talked about it. It's something that they got back to their staples, which is running the football and running it in a way that was to their strength, which is to the perimeter and to utilize the tight ends to block. So now you are in a contest where the whole world's watching and everybody's going to see what you're about. You guys are absolutely right. You cannot go to Baltimore and fall behind. You got to play excellently. You got to start from start to finish. And I do think that the Lions will. You guys are right. The Lions, remember too, in Dan Campbell's first year early in 2021, I believe they had that game at Ford Field where the kicker had that miraculous big 66-yarder from Justin Tucker, and you ended up losing 19-17. But the game 2 years later was not anywhere close to competitive. So you're out there, and I'm quite excited. I'm curious, Donnie, did the Bears game help restore your confidence a little bit in John Morton? Because it's going to be one of those deals where he's been given the keys to a Ferrari, and there's a lot of good players. So if things falter, yeah, it's going to be on the players. But quite frankly, those players have proven in the past with a different coach that they can execute. So a lot of people were blaming John Morton for that poor effort of the Lions, and now they got back after it. So I think John Morton, learned what some of the strengths are of this team, and he put the team in a much better position to win this week. But now he's got to do it again because let's look. If you take notes now and you watch the Ravens the first 2 weeks, they got a young secondary. They got rookies. So you can pick them apart through passing. You got to be more aggressive as well early in this game. I think the Lions are going to test Starks and some of their young defensive backs. I think the Lions are going to get maybe in a shootout in this contest. So I want to see, how does John Morton pick apart a defense that also has a little bit of an experience? Because I feel like the Lions defense, man, you might need those 1 or 2 key stops, but Derrick Henry in that offense looks really good. How do you think the Lions are going to approach this game, Donnie? And when you look at it, how confident are you? Because you said you're confident that they have the pieces, but you also got to remember too, Lamar Jackson's a unicorn. Just simply put, he's a unicorn, man. It's hard. That guy's hard to stop along with Derrick Henry.
Right. Man. Yeah, Baltimore's a different beast when we're talking about the Bears. Now, they're a rival. They're a division rival. But Ravens are, Super Bowl contenders. As a fan, my confidence is really high after watching us put up a 50 burger because these are NFL teams, regardless of who's better than who. We did that against an NFL team early in the year where injuries and all the other excuses, don't come into play as much. But I expect Mr. Morton to come in there. He's got to be confident too because that was a hot seat that this guy was on after the Green Bay game. It was a poor performance. We didn't score, 1 touchdown in garbage time. As a fan, my perspective, I'm excited. I agree with you. I believe it's going to be a shootout, and I believe every stop is going to be crucial. And our defense, don't break. Bend a little bit, don't break. I believe also this game this past Sunday helped Aiden Hutchinson and his confidence getting back and getting him a sack. And the secondary playing really good, Kirby, Branch. I believe we're going to be ready, and I believe that's going to be an awesome game Monday. And we won't be shocked when we win, but maybe Baltimore and some of the other experts that have us as a heavy underdog, they probably will be surprised or shocked.
Well, let me apologize because I had to step away. My alarm went off for work as soon as I got on. But back to that question, Johnny Morton did a lot of things different against against Chicago than he did Green Bay. You brought up Laporta, using him in the scheme and using St. Brown in the blocking scheme. You would see him come underneath the backside, and it would give Gibbs the opportunity in the eye to go right, left, cut back. And he's really dangerous when he gets on the outside, even the inside. But we lost Davenport, but I'll tell you who I was really impressed with was Tyreek, and I think Tyreek will play a big role disrupting. Like 2 or 3 tech, his gap responsibility has been amazing. And another guy I really liked is Muhammad. John, maybe you can. I have a problem with his first name, Al Aquaden Muhammad. He had a good PFF. Yep. And then, like we talked about St. Brown being the highest PFF, but Brian Branch was the highest PFF ranked defensive player, period. I think it was like a 91.9, forced fumble, interception, 6 tackles, a sack. He was everywhere. Him and Kirby are really good. You're always going to have issues with Derrick Henry. You're always going to have issues what you call the unicorn. I think the matchups there, I'm worried about it, but I liked what I seen against the Bears. He did a lot of things differently, but it felt different. Like if you go back to last year, like the Lions had a chip on their shoulder, and it felt like that when we played the Bears and Ben Johnson. It did feel personal, in my opinion. And that's the Lions' like attitude that I miss. That's when they play their best. They're young. They came out to play. I mean, St. Brown was what, an inch away from his 4th touchdown? So, like, it's going to be a great matchup. They did, for a lack of better term, beat us pretty bad last time. But I'm hoping they come competitive. I hope Morton and Shepard, they come through and they get these guys together, and it's a competitive game because we need this. It don't get easier, right? It doesn't get no easier. We wanted the big time matchups. We wanted the spotlight. We got it. So it's time to play, and I'm hoping so.
This last game, they had the motivation with Ben Johnson. What did you guys make of the whole F Ben Johnson chance? Everybody talked about it. Jared Goff, not really for it. They're still close with Ben Johnson, even though, people are making, a lot of noise about Ben Johnson calling Jared Goff that quarterback after the game. The embrace was short, nothing really spectacular. Nobody revealed what Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson didn't reveal what they said to each other. So you got Ben Johnson, and it's a game in which the Lions clearly wanted to show him that he made a mistake leaving. So the proof was in the pudding. They went out there and destroyed him, and they played for John Morton. They played for Dan Campbell, and they wanted to show that, hey, wait a minute. Our offense also has some talent too. It wasn't all this Ben Johnson show, and it was fun to see. But I didn't make much. I don't really care if the fans chant, but there are kids around. It's not the classiest thing. But look, when you're in the 3rd and 4th quarter, guys, I hate to tell everybody out there in listening land, the class and decorum kind of goes out the window because most of the people that are there that are enjoying some adult beverages are usually 2 to 3 deep. And it makes it a little bit more easy for patrons to let out some cuss words and really express frustrations. They did it to Stafford. They've done it to now Ben Johnson. Are you guys okay with that? Because the Lions are kind of getting outside of Detroit that reputation that we're a little bit nasty as a fan base. I'm okay with it, but I do see the other side where people say, wait a minute, he was once part of the Lions. Jared Goff said today on a podcast, he texts regularly with Ben Johnson. So it's no offense that Ben Johnson's calling him that player on that team. It's just ribbing. I don't mind it, but man, some people, because Amon-Ra St. Brown on a podcast said that's the wrong thing to do. It's not the most classy, but I kind of liked it, in my opinion. Is it wrong? Is Detroit a little bit too comfortable, too cocky with their attitude? But hey, I'm all for it. If you're paying upwards of $350 for a ticket, you can do whatever the heck you want outside of, getting into fights and aggression.
You're talking to a guy, though, excuse me, that attended the WVU Pitt game Saturday. And, we have a little chant there with Pitt because that's our rival. Eat. Pitt, okay? And it was loud. And when they sing Sweet Caroline, we played Sweet Caroline at the end of the game. And, they're in the part where they say their chant. We say the opposite. So when it comes to that and bantering, I don't see anything wrong with it. What Ben done wasn't wrong. He wanted to be a head coach. He went after the job that he wanted. As a fan of a team in the division, a team that he left, I felt he had better options. He had options to go to Jacksonville, which is not a better team, but I mean, they may be. The Bears aren't that good. He also had the Raiders. What I understand was Tom Brady was really interested in bringing him in to Vegas. So he stays in the NFC North. What does he expect? Honestly, what does he expect? And then Dan's probably hurt too. It came shortly after a playoff loss that we all felt we were going to win against Washington. 3 days later, they announced that our offensive coordinator is going to a rival. I'm sure Dan had that game circled when the schedule came out a long time ago also. So putting boot to ass, I'm not shocked about that either. But yeah, I'm fine with it. I don't know how you feel, Woody. But
I mean, you watched the end of the game. We watched Ben Johnson walk up to Dan Campbell. Just a couple words. He literally walked past the whole entire Detroit team. If you watch Goff had to like reach under and like tap him on the ass. You know what I mean? They asked him a question. Do they think they run it up? You could see the frustration in his face. Detroit has been through a lot. The fan base. Look, we've struggled, but we're very passionate. Through the good times, through the bad times, whether the tickets are $50 or $350, we always win, right? We've always supported a smaller size city that, breaks the draft attendance records. This is what we do. And it hurt to watch him go to a division rival, the Bears. And like you said, he had other options. I am grateful for everything that Ben did. He really helped establish this culture here. He still went to the Bears. Do we need to watch our mouth around children? Yeah, and I'm probably a lot more guilty of that than most. But yeah, I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. I know there's some, I wouldn't call it bad blood. He went on record when he left and he said, he wants a quarterback that can extend the play. Well, he got one that doesn't take care of the ball. So Goff proved that. You look at his numbers, he was out for blood too, in my opinion. They protected him, they did their thing, and they made a statement, So he moved on, and it is what it is, but that's what comes with the territory.
All right. Yeah, good football weekend for you then, Donnie, huh? The overtime win with the West Virginia over Pitt. So that's a good time.
Oh, it's awesome. The stadium is like a mile down the road here. When I did a show with you before, it was about Bruce Irvin, and that's what I wanted to get to for just a second. I happened to run into Bruce Irvin in the blue lot this past Saturday, and I went up to him. I was like, man, I'm sorry that my Lions let you go. And he looked at me. He's like, I asked to be released. So I don't know exactly how that happened, who released who, or if he asked for release. But, yeah, I was pretty stoked. But, man, our Lions, man, we got the big win, too, on Sunday. And going into Baltimore, we needed this because if we went into Baltimore with an 0-2 record, that'd probably be trouble, I would say.
Yeah, no doubt, man. You needed to go in with some momentum. Jared Goff, obviously winning the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. And also, too, when you can obviously showcase the almost what you could say the full power of that offense, it allows you to gain that confidence that, okay, that first week was a little bit of an outlier. Because people were concerned, like, wait a minute, John Morton, you have the secret sauce. You put in this offense. What did you call in that first week? Now, the Packers had something to do with it. A lot of it was execution, but a lot of it, too, was a game plan that lacked a little bit of creativity and execution in regards to deep plays and kind of highlighting some of the talent. Now, of course, there's factors. The Packers really had a lot of answers. You shot yourself in the foot quite a bit. But now against the Ravens, you are stepping up into the class. This is a Super Bowl preview in my mind. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be great. I'm hopping on a plane to Baltimore. I'm going to be there in attendance to see it in person. You got to see the Lamar Jackson experience at least once. But by and large, I think most people trust the offense. But there's some now question marks, guys, on defense. They didn't stop the run all that great against the Bears early in that game. They made DeAndre Swift look a little better than he is. Luckily, for some reason, DeAndre Swift loves to put the football down on the turf at Ford Field, which is great. So this is great. DeAndre Swift helped the Lions and Caleb Williams with turnovers. So that helps. But are you guys trusting that defense? Teams are picking on Terrion Arnold, and they did it again. He gave up the bomb and the touchdown to the Packers, and he gave up some plays again against the Bears. So I'm a little bit concerned. That injury doesn't look like it's doing him any favors, and he's not starting the year. And it's clear something's nagging him. He's not playing as he did and maybe it's just one of those deals where groin injuries are tough. You got to be sticky and be on your guy. But, man, are you guys trusting the defense? And we talked to the defensive coordinator on Friday. Somebody's going to ask him. It might be me. It might be somebody else. I think we all know if you follow Calvin Shepard, he does not like the QB spy. He feels like it takes away a member of your defense, and why do it? I don't know if that's the wise plan again. If you have enough speed to do it, would it be Alex Anzalone? Would it be Barnes? I don't know if it would be Campbell. I think you avoid it, but you have shown that you can contain Caleb Williams, but this is a whole different thing. How do you feel about the defense going up against Lamar? Can they make Lamar one-dimensional? Can they stop Derrick Henry? I feel like it's going to be a real tough challenge. That offense for the Ravens is legit, and they can score at will. Where do you see this Lions defense at? Because we all know the offense is a staple. The defense, I think, is going to also have a part in this story.
Yeah, we got to slow them down somehow, some way, whether it's bringing 6 to the box or just blitzing a lot more than normal. It's hard. When you look at the stats from the last game, 500 yards, and he threw almost 360 yards on us. So, with that being said, I don't think we stop him. I don't think anybody in the NFL, I know Buffalo didn't stop him. They did enough to claw back, and they have a heck of a quarterback that led them to the win. But if we can just slow them down, our offense is such a key in this game, in my opinion, because we're going to tick for tack. They score, we need to score, and vice versa. I hope that Terrion Arnold comes prepared if he's going to play the whole game. I hope he's healthier than he was last week. If he's not, I hope they kind of spill him in, don't play him as much. But I was impressed last week with Kirby and Branch. Our safeties did an excellent job last week. Can they help our cornerbacks? I believe they can. But we'll just have to see. I mean, I'm excited about this game. What do you think, Woody?
You brought up Terrion Arnold, John, and I think he's given up the most yards at his position. He has targeted a lot. And that's interesting about Shepard, especially considering he's a linebacker guy, right? With no spy, especially on Lamar. So, you got to think about the game plan he's going to bring. He's going to have to bring some sort of pressure, right? We're down a defensive end. But I like he was talking about, I do have faith in our safeties, of course, and we have a lot of options. We're going to see, really when it comes to Lamar, it's just Lamar's going to do what Lamar does. And now he has Henry. And they can share the splits. They got Bateman. He has a lot of options. Flowers over there. So we'll see. I have a little bit more faith in our defense than I did last year. That's my personal opinion. But we're going to see with Shepard, especially with AG gone. It's really just we're a couple games into it. And we're figuring this out. They looked a lot different than they did against the Bears than they did against Green Bay. I think a lot of that has a lot to do with Green Bay. Even that defense. They went from 17 turnovers to 31 over the last year. They got progressively better. I think they were the 6th best scoring defense in the league as soon as they had a change in defensive coordinator. So we'll see. I know we're talking about the Ravens, but Harbaugh does a great job over there, and they consistently have a good defense, and they have a unicorn, like you said, at quarterback. So we got to trust in the game plan, and we'll see what they bring.
You guys got to realize that Terrion Arnold almost had 2 interceptions. Those are game-changing plays, right? So I think they have eyes up. I think they play a little bit more zone than they have been playing. They've been playing a lot of man, which is surprisingly in the first 2 weeks. I think they're going to keep up. Brian Branch, after the second quarter, he was in the box all the time. He was making plays. I do believe he was the reason why we won that game. It made us blow that game apart because Brian Branch is probably the MVP on this defense, and I really like what this matchup is going to be. It's going to be great having Brian Branch against Lamar Jackson. That's my take. Talk about it, John.
Yeah, Brian Branch. I'm curious to see if he gets another fine. The league is after him. They know his physical style of play. Man, that it just felt like his call this week was weak. Obviously, what he did game 1 was warranting of a couple fines, understood. But this one, he was coming down. It wasn't intentional. You wiped away a play. man, it's just the league looking at him a little extra. So that stinks. But look, you like the player. Everybody loves what he can bring to the table. His physicality. He comes in and tackles like a missile. And he's also now part of an opportunistic defense. That's what Dan Campbell wants, which is they want more turnovers than just interceptions. They want to get the ball. That's what's going to take is, in my humble opinion, the best way to keep Lamar Jackson limited is keep him on the bench. And that's going to be maybe some running action, some stuff that you got to do to bleed the clock and to limit the possessions that the Ravens have. But, yeah, you're absolutely right. Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph. But let's credit DJ Reed and Terry Arnold. They're working at it. It's something that's got to be fixed in terms of some communication issues. But so far, so good in regards to at least the organizational structure at times of the defense. But they got a lot of things to clean up. All right, we got to talk about it. It's the elephant in the room. I'm curious how you guys see it. Everybody's talking about Marcus Davenport. You know, his family's heard all the dissent. Everybody talks about the defensive ends. It's not enough, not good enough from February. That's been crazy because I talked about it on the Lone Wolves podcast today. I did a little support group for all the people that are still hung up on defensive end. I obviously understand it's a need, but what's wild is I forgot that I went to the combine in February, March, and asked Brad Holmes about defensive end. So it's been almost 8 months of me and the media asking about defensive end. And so it's just a big disconnect between what the fans want and knowing what they're doing. They're going with Davenport and Al-Quadin Muhammad. That's what they're doing. They got guys that are on the roster and on the practice squad that they're developing. But I feel like the fan base is conclusive in their assessment. It's not good enough. And I respect that. I respect it. I've already moved on from it because I've already asked him 9 questions about it. To the point where Brad Holmes is like, get off my ass. Stop asking me about defensive end. I'm telling you, we got one of the top 5 in the world, and we're trying to patchwork the other. This is what we're doing. But everyone's like, we don't care what you're telling us. Go get better, which I love. I love a fan base that can stick on one point. And it really is a compliment, in my opinion, to the team because you look across the board, you have young guards, but every other position, we're all pretty happy. So we're picking on the one position that they're not happy with. I get it. It's an important position, but it stinks because I feel like in this instance, Marcus Davenport now is a scapegoat. It's like anytime he gets hurt, people are upset. Anytime he's on the injury report in a game, people are upset. It is what it is. They tried to get him cheap, and they're hoping for some luck. Unfortunately, Brad Holmes in these injury luck situations has none. It's like snake eyes every single time. Emmanuel Mosley, hurt. Ennis Rakestraw, hurt again. Levi Onwuzurike comes into the draft, a little bit of history of hurt again. Hurts in training camp. It's wild, the unlucky nature of some of these guys. But where are you guys at with it? Look, we all have talked about what they are going to do. They're going to roll with Davenport and Al-Quadin Muhammad. It's going to be patchwork. They got it wasn't that great against the Bears. A lot of those pressures were in garbage time. Where do you see this defensive end situation leading to? Is it overblown? Do you just say, if you get 2 games out of Davenport in week 17, 18 in the playoffs, we'll take it. But, man, it's loud. It's like basically I'll do a report online, and it'll be like, hey, Lions signed a running back to the practice squad. And people will be like, is that a defensive end? I'm like, holy cow. You guys are fixated. What do you guys think? And because it's a big deal. I get it because Zadarius Smith went to the Eagles and you wanted him. People are like, you had him. Why'd you even let him go? Just let him stay. And I believe it too. Fans are right. Keep harping on it. I believe in that. But in my position, I've already talked about it a million times. So I'm in a little bit of a different spot. But for a lot of people, the defensive end room is glaring and they're not happy and they're fixated on it. And I get it. The last big game was an Eagles team that 0 blitzed their way to a Super Bowl. That is wild. No blitzes, none. No blitzes is crazy. And they won with their defensive line. And I think the Lions want to copy that, but they're not really able to do it. They're trying to do it a little different way with the edge rushers and the Sam linebackers. They're trying to do different stuff and stunts with the linebackers. But I get the concern. Where are you guys at? Is this going to be the downfall of this team, this whole defensive end debacle? Donnie.
What I believe is at probably around the trade deadline, just like last year, I can see us going and making another move for a mid-tier defensive end, just like we did with Smith. I was kind of confused too when I heard that Philly signed Zadarius Smith. I don't know exactly what he asked for, how much, and for us not to bring him back, and for Dan Campbell to say we're good. We know we're not good. Like you were
Twice.
saying, this is the weakness of our team. That's why all of us fans are frustrated with this position. Yeah, we have Aiden. We love Aiden. He's a top 5 defensive end. But if something happens and he has a setback or an injury that puts him out a game or two, then what? Then you're really thin at that position. So I can see with the Davenport situation, I can see another Zadarius Smith trade, which kind of stinks because you're giving more draft picks out to upgrade at that position, but he'll have to do something. I mean, if you want to put pressure on a quarterback and make him uncomfortable, that's what you got to do. That's where most of your pressure comes from, that and when you do blitz linebackers and safeties. But, yeah, I'm not happy with it. I wasn't happy with Smith going to Philadelphia. I don't really want to see any of our former players go to Philadelphia, but he's there. We don't have a chance to sign him. Davenport's hurt again. So I'm hopeful that we get another player, in the trade. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, with Philly played Dallas week 1, they had a little issue getting to the quarterback, so they went and got Smith right away. They seen an issue, they fixed it. I think a lot of the fans, that's how they look at stuff. If we go back to the draft, and we all know Brad's always has that recipe, take the best player available, not the position. At the draft, at the time, I didn't think Williams was the best player at 28. Maybe I still don't feel that way, but I like what I see out of him, and that position is a need, especially with McNeil down. A lot of things I see is they talk about Aiden and his leg, and he looks great. I've seen a video, you guys probably seen it, of him hurdling a player last game, literally jumping over his backside. Like his leg looks good. He has that motor. Aiden's Aiden, right? He does need help. It's more or less Brad's going to do what Brad thinks is best for the team. I know he's thinking steps ahead. Would I like to sign Smith? I would like something better than Smith at the time. But at this point, I'd be like, yeah, I would have been happy to have Smith because Smith is a veteran. He's been a great player for years. So, yes, defensive end is a need. Losing Smith was kind of like a punch in the face. And then Davenport gets hurt week 2. He got hurt week 3 last year, I think, after getting a sack against the Rams, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah, I mean, we all want a defensive end. But how many teams in the NFL have 2 great defensive ends? Right? They have a salary cap. They have a lot of things going on. So, but yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, and we're all going to keep saying it. The fans, at least, are going to keep saying it. I watched Neil Rule from BlockBuster Sports. I mean, he literally went in earlier today on fans, yelling at him. You know what I mean? Because he's sick of the questions. Like, Brad Holmes has built this team from scratch, literally. From scratch. But, he can be a little frugal in free agency and with the trades. That's one thing I will say.
Bargain Brad.
Yeah, but we love him. We love him, right? So, yeah, we need a defensive end, but I like Muhammad. I thought Muhammad looked good.
Yeah,
so, yeah, you know what I mean? So, and Davenport looked good when he was healthy. He didn't look bad. So,
he's a good run
keep him healthy. Too. Yeah, of course.
John, what's the update? What's the update with Davenport? Is it sprained shoulder, dislocated shoulder? What is it?
We don't know the extent. I think because of the game, the importance of the game against the Ravens, we get back out to the media tomorrow. So we'll get the early report tomorrow if he's out there. So I believe then it'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You'll have an official probably injury report. If he's not there, it'll be a shoulder injury probably. But Dan Campbell's keeping it coy. He said he'll document and give more of a game analysis at the end of the week. So I think that they probably know, look, here's a good sign, though. You can always kind of tell on the latest transaction report, meaning that today is Wednesday. On Tuesday, they let go of a linebacker from the practice squad. They put tight end Shane Zylstra on the injured reserve. They didn't do that with Marcus. That's a sign. That's a good sign that they didn't put him on the injured reserve yet. So that means potentially if there is something, it might only be a 1 or 2 game situation. Remember, they put the latest player, which was St. Zylstra, on IR. He'll miss 4 games. They worked out a bunch of players, and they added a tight end and another player to the Malik Cunningham to kind of simulate Lamar Jackson. So that's a good sign, in my opinion. You saw Marcus Davenport in the locker room. I feel like the second opinions are to confirm what the best treatment plan is. I'm hoping that it's going to be positive for Marcus Davenport, because if it's not, I feel like it'll be over. I don't think the fan base will ever trust him. So we'll find out tomorrow at practice, and we'll report it right around lunchtime, I believe, or so, Eastern time. So we'll get a chance to see if he's out there at practice, and we'll figure it out. But it's a big deal. And if not, it'll be Al-Quadin Muhammad. He is ranked up there in PFF, and his pass rush win rate is like 6th amongst defensive ends. So it's a real good showing. I don't know if he'll keep up those numbers as a full-time starter, but you also got Mekhi Wingo. You got others, Pat O'Connor, kind of mix and match other opportunities to play different spots. So you're patchworking it, but you hope it's Davenport at this point in time. And maybe you'll get reinforcements in the rookie in Ahmed Hassanin, but that won't be probably until at least, midway in the season or later. So you get help coming. So we'll see how that shakes out moving forward with the defensive end spot. But like you guys said, Tyleek, I think, has been impressive. How have you guys felt about the other rookies? I mean, look, Isaac Tesla, I think, is the player everybody wants to see more of. Tyleek has been consistent. He's trying to stop the run. He got a little bit more pressures this week. He's getting into the opportunity to showcase his power. So I think the rookie class, the top 3, I think, when you look at Tate Ratledge, Tyleek Williams, and Isaac Tesla, that's a nice start to start your draft where they have some impact and they grow. And you haven't even seen Tesla use his other hand yet. So I'm very happy with this class and the opportunity that they can contribute. So I think that, Brad Holmes deserves a lot of credit for the draft. But at the same token, what I've been saying is with Brad Holmes is when you look at it, the team has been built and is now competitive. He definitely deserves a lot of credit for that. But now there's one more step up the ladder. You're on the 4th step. You get that last step, which is how do you take a really good team and make them an elite team? And that involves maybe creatively external free agents, making some moves, making some creative signings. There's that fine little line between being the Bills and being the Chiefs. And for the Chiefs, it was Patrick Mahomes and a couple shrewd moves here and there, getting the interior shirt up. And you look at the Eagles, they made some impactful moves. So that's where the last step is going to be, is does draft and develop without major external splashes? Does that work? He'll have the last laugh if it does. But, man, it's exciting to see because, he definitely knows how to draft receivers. That's a good sign. The problem is acquiring them externally hasn't gone well. For those that remember Mims and Terrell Williams and some of these Donovan Peoples-Jones, some of the other external ones kind of bit him in the tail. So he's a little bit gun shy maybe outside where there's a lot more risk involved. But I'm happy with the draft class. Man, Tesla's great. I really do think the hype is real with this guy. What do you guys think of this guy that every single week makes a one-handed grab and you're just like, oh my God, what do we got here?
Well, what we have is another weapon. My gosh, man, the kid's exciting. He's fast. He's got the hands of a Jerry Rice, it seems like. At least it feels like from the outside right now. We're only 2 games in, so time will tell how good all these rookies will develop and get better. But that's just a key. Coaching staff, Dan Campbell, they'll get these guys better. And, when Tesla finally gets an opportunity to get more than one target, we'll see how great he could be. But, you got to be excited about the draft class. And looks like Brad hit another draft, even without a defensive end. But that may be a future move.
Well, a couple of years back, or even last year, we're always clamoring the defensive ends. We didn't have an edge rusher, but for the wide receivers. So we got Tim Patrick, and we're basically able to trade him for what we got him for. But last year, it's we need another wide receiver. We need another, because Leaf went down. So I get the Detroit fan base. They're all, armchair GMs. And I'd love to be a fly in the room with John, because I listen to the press conferences that I could always hear John's question. Just there's some Rieger on the post game. That was freaking funny. I'm telling you, but it has come to that time of the day where John has to go. But let's finish off these what John had said, and we'll finish off there. Woody?
Oh, we were talking about Tesla. So actually, I believe it was a show with John on Crunch Time with Jeff, and you guys were talking about Tesla before the draft, and I was big on Tesla. I believe if you guys put any merit into the RAS score since 1987, 3,000, I think it's 700 and that number, but he was the 29th highest RAS score ever since 1987. The kid's a local like Aiden, right? He grew up in northern Michigan. He went to Hillsdale, worked his way into the Razorback team, who didn't have a quarterback, right? The kid has something special. Like he checks all the boxes. He's big. He's fast. He has great hands. He works hard. I even seen a video of him giving J-Mo crap in the huddle, right? Like he fits in. He's a team guy. I love him. And you talk about the draft, Tyreek, and I've said it before, like I'm big on Tyreek because he brings something this team hasn't had in a while. Darcy, you talked about how Terrion almost had an interception. That came off a tip pass from Tyreek. They teach defensive tackles. If you don't get to the quarterback, you put your hands up, right? You put them up. That's something we haven't had at the defensive tackle position, like consistently. This man's gap responsibility, whether he's 2-tech, 3-tech, outside of the shoulder, it doesn't matter, right? He's doing a good job, and if he's holding his gap down, he's stopping the running game, and he's putting his hands up, and it's causing opportunity. So I like these young guys. I didn't like what I seen out of Tate. I seen a couple videos against Green Bay, but he cleaned it up this game. And I liked how Johnny Morton was working with Laporta, involving Amon St. Brown, pulling him underneath, getting some blocking schemes, working Gibbs into the running game, and they improved it from 2.6 yards, right? So I really like these young guys. I like what I'm seeing, and we'll see next week. Sorry, I was long-winded, fellas.
You're all right. Right on. Okay. Well, thank you, John, for always coming on with the BlockBuster Sports, a new podcast that you could check out on YouTube. It's going to be released probably tonight or tomorrow, whenever Woody gets to it. Thank you. And we are going to all go to Detroit Lions Lone Wolves podcast. Is that what it's called?
Yep, the operation, really, the hub is on X at Detroit Podcast. That's where you can find it. The website is Detroit Lions on SI. You can Google it, get all the information. You can find all the articles on X as well. But if you want to go to YouTube, yep, it's simple. The title of the YouTube page is Detroit Lions on SI. That's the real website name that covers the Lions. And within that, there's a couple Lions podcasts, the Lone Wolves podcast. And now I'm going to start a new one because of what happened last week. It's going to be called Answer the Question, where I just fire off questions into the chat and the comments, and people just fire back. That'll be like more of a mailbag kind of situation, but you got to take advantage of some fun, lighthearted moments with a reporter and Dan Campbell. So that's what everybody wants. They want Dan Campbell to answer the question. And that's most important. And but like I said, with me, it's real simple. If you just want to find everything at Detroit Podcast on X, you'll find everything quickly.
See, we're contemplating to have the name as Talk About It, Let's Talk About It, or BlockBuster Sports. So that's kind of the same idea. Thanks, John. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Woo!
First down for the Lions. Goff's got it back. Lofts it right side. Wants Tesla. Does he make a one-handed catch? Oh, don't you tell me he did that. Oh, rookie, you are something else as he slides out of bounds.
They forgot about who we were. It's like they forgot that we're fighters, all right?
I just noticed that was a cheese grater. I ain't never seen that before. That's dope.
31-21. You're first here.
The 2014 team was our best bet. And I'm going to tell you why. That penalty, we beat Dallas that year, right? We had the second best defense in the league, if you remember, behind the Legion of Boom, which historically was one of the best defense, if not the best of all, one of the best of all time. And we had a better offense than Seattle did. They had Marshawn Lynch, they had the young Russell Wilson, that Reggie Bush, that Calvin.
Question mark is that everybody wants to know about, everybody's concerned about, is how much better did the Lions actually